Hello and welcome to the next lecture. Today we're going to speak a little bit about as well cache as previously, but this time cache will be a little bit different. It will be remote cache. So there is a way to use a cache inside. For example, there is a library Caffeine, which and this library used in all the wrappers. Spring Cache, in a Quarkus cache you use it as well, Hibernate cache as well. So and there is a way to use the cache remote. So you have a service that uses cache, stores your cache somewhere, and you can just manipulate it remotely. So this is good if you restart something, right? You don't have anything hanging in the memory. Of course, it's a little bit slower because it's it's stored in the other process, and you need to have this small milliseconds to connect, get data and back, but it's still usable. So the way we're going to look at the Infinispan, and this is actually really interesting technology because it uses protobuf, create a protobuf which converts, so you're not passing JSON, at least in Quarkus example, you're not passing a JSON, you're parsing the bytes, which will be decoded afterwards, after you get it back. So yeah, so let's create our project. I have here everything prepared. So yeah, so we have a Quarkus Maven plugin create, now Infinispan. We have a book resource and books. So we'll do the basic example with the books. We have an Infinispan Client and receipt easy JSONB. So let's create a project. Okay, so we can see that project is created with two extensions, the Quarkus Infinispan Client and Quarkus REST easy JSONB. And let's open it in IntelliJ as well. But firstly, let's start the Infinispan server. And this is done really easy with Docker, so we can just call docker run and then bin the port 11,222, and then you specify two environment variables, one of which user and one of which password. So we just put a root, just as in previous examples, and then the image itself is the Infinispan server. So we'll run it in a window so you can see everything, and yeah, once it's done, it will take not so long, hopefully. So we can just go to the browser. I think it's already running, so we can try go to Google Chrome and then call just localhost 11,222. So you'll be welcomed with the console. I think I already have the credentials, that's why it's not prompting to anything, but let's try it one more time. Yeah, I think so it will prompt you to put a login password in the basic auth, so you'll need to write the root here. And so we can go to console, and you can see that we have our management console. All right, so we're interested in the caches, so you can just click the create cache, and today we're gonna use only the author. So we'll create only author cache. We won't touch books, but yeah. So you can put a local, for example, type of cache. That's not required. So you will see that cache author created with success. You can go back and you can see that there is an author, right? So you can see everything here, like the statistics, like the average reads and writes and removes and everything. So this is kind of helpful to have, right? So now we can switch over. So we created the author cache that we needed. So we can switch to IntelliJ back, right? And let's actually rename our book resource. I think we'll create an author resource, right? And yeah, we can rename him as well. So we'll have an author resource, and the path will be that's actually okay, whatever. Let's create a book cache instead. So we can go back to the you can call it data management create cache and name it a book, right? Or books, for example. The template can be the local as well. So yeah, so we created a books cache as well. We can click on the books and see everything, all the information that we have, right? So let's go back to IntelliJ, and so what we need to have is we need to create the book object, of course. So let's Firstly, I'll make it a little bit larger. So let's create a new Java class called data book, right, like this. And here let's put just you know, private I don't know, let's private string ID, private string title, and private whatever would we have, maybe a private string and probably private string author, right? So it won't be in a nested object, just the clarity. So the only thing that you need to have here is make it let's say immutable, right? So we always want to have them final. That's the first part, final. And you want to always have them not null. So objects require not null, like this, and just wrap everything like this. So you can wrap them as well. And then let's just create a getters for everything like this. So now let's switch over to making a proto. So the Infinispan uses protobuf, as I said, for communication with the server. So you don't need to specify this proto file. The only thing that they actually, you can, but it's already deprecated, so you don't need to bother with it anymore. So so the other approach, in the better one and the only one for now, is the use the annotations. So you can use a proto factory, for example, for the constructor, and then you can specify a proto field, and then you need to specify a number. So that's if you know what the protobuf is in the protocol, so you need to specify field and the number of the field. So that means that get ID will be the first. It goes first, and then we put a proto field. Let me make it again a little bit larger. Proto field number 2, and then proto field number 3, right? So first goes ID, then number, then author, get title, and then author, right? So that's it for the book itself, right? So one more thing that we need to specify is the analyzer. So you can create a new package called config, for example. So we can create a class called book context serializer, initializer, like this. So it will be interface actually, and then you can extend it from serialization context initializer, like this. So inside we'll use an include classes, and this one will be, of course, our book class, right? And the second one is a package name, schema package name, but it can be it's not like important, but we can put a book sample or something like this. So that's it. You don't need to add anything more here, and so ideally it should already work, except we need to do last thing here, which is applications properties. So I have prepared everything here, so don't close your Infinispan server. So I have here my settings prepared like this. So so let me clarify everything. So we have a Quarkus Infinispan client, right? And then we have all the keys. So the server list is the list of the servers for that you can access with the Infinispan. You can use a semicolon to specify more of them. So you can have, like, I don't know, maybe remote some, and or if you have 3 of them, you can specify them via the semicolon, then localhost, and you know, maybe you have something different here, right? So we have only one server that will be as is. Then we have a password and username. Actually, like, better to switch them. So this is author username and password. That's exactly what we used as an environment variables here. As you can see, user and root and pass root. So yeah, that's there. Then author name is default specified as Infinispan, and then author will be default as well. So if you're using a Mac as me, this line will save you a little bit of time, because by default, if you use a Docker with the Infinispan, it doesn't work without this line. So you can put the client intelligence to basic. So yeah, now let's actually run our app. Okay, so I'm in Infinispan folder, and we can call Quarkus dev on the Maven MV. And yeah, it will load something. In my case, I already loaded everything, and you can see nothing actually changed at all. So we actually forgot to use it, but we specified everything as needed. So let's go to the book resource, and let's inject our remote cache. So you can use a remote as a name of the cache, right? So here you need to specify a name. In our case, it's of course author. And so you can specify remote cache, and then you have a, for example, string, and then the object, which is author in our case, actually books, sorry. And I think the name of the cache is books as well, because we changed it. So yeah, so this is one thing, but we'll firstly look into something more, which is remote cache manager. I think it's this one. So let's firstly get all the available cache names. So if you don't know the available cache, you can get it like this. So you have a cache manager, get cache names, and here you just change it to set. The JSON view will cover it for you. So let's have a set of strings as a return here, like this. And so we can go to the Postman, go to /books, and you will get back a list of the available actually, you also need to specify the application JSON as well here. So now you can see that we have 4 available caches, which is books, author, and then some system one, script cache, and then protobuf metadata. So we're only interested in books in our case, right? So let's create a post method actually for now, which will produce, it will produce the same thing and consume the application JSON as well. So consumes application JSON and produces as well. So we have a book. So let's create a book, right? And then the body will be book as well. And then this service will just put the book into cache. So for example, let's call the remote cache. So we know that books is available type of the remote cache, right? So we can put something with a key. In our case, let's actually add let's use in our case a ID, right? Book get ID. This is a string, and then the book itself. So this will put book to the cache, and we can just return it straight ahead. So yeah, so let's redo our get method here. So get book, and then we can specify a string ID, which will be a query param called ID, like this. So now we can get a remote cache get, and then put the ID itself. So this is it. This is yeah, and of course we need to specify book as an output for sure. So yeah, so we can post a book, which will go to the cache and then reuse it back with the get method. So this is like super simple, but example, and we need to specify correct. So we have ID. So let's name it like ID. Let's say 1, 2, 3, right? Then we have a title here, title, test book, and then the author. Author is not me. So yeah, so let's try to post it, and we'll see that we forgot to do something. So I think we need to restart the server because of this exception. So if you haven't reload the server when you created the book context initializer, I suggest you to do it in this case, right? So we have everything here. So let's try to restart, and let's see how it will work. So I missed one line, which is that so book haven't had any, let's say, the empty constructor, right? So what we'll actually do, we'll change it to query params, right? So we'll have ID, string ID, and then let's say query param title, string title, like this. And it's enough. So we'll change the after, we'll name it Quarkus or something like this. So let's create a new book here. This is actually, I'll show you a few main exceptions or problems with this Infinispan for now. Maybe they will be fixed in the future. So let's put an ID, title, and then the outer will be Quarkus or something like this, right? So we have this thing, right? So we have a book called Quarkus. So we can put it, so you can see that we have a remote cache put book ID book, right? And we can actually change it with the ID. So one thing, if your output shows that there is no such marshal created for the text to now data book, in your case it can be different package. So in this case, go to the book context initializer and change this schema package name to something like book sample 2. So as you see, I already made it. That was my issue. So yeah, so if first one is not working, just change it to something else. This is not the best case behavior, right? But if it's happens, then this is the easiest way to fix it, and it's probably temporary. So you can go ahead and actually start with a random name and then change it when it's established. So if you run your app with a some changes to the class, it may cause this issue as well. So just remember that this line can save you a little bit of time, maybe 10 or 20 minutes at the very least. And yeah, so the second issue is this line, remote books, right? So don't forget to put correct name of the cache. Again, in the application properties, don't forget to put these two lines, auth server name and auth realm. So let's see how it's actually working. So we have this create book, right? We have a query param ID and then title with a post with empty body, whatever. So we create a book, put it into cache, remote cache, of course, and then return the book itself. And then later, when we call the get, you can see that we have a remote cache get here, which will return the book back to us because it's like a map, right? So yeah, so let's go to the Postman. Let's create a book. So we'll have an ID equals 1, 2, 3, and then title will be let's test title or something like this, right? So we can go call the post here, and you can see that we created a book, and there is no exception. That means that it's actually created. You can probably also see that the Infinispan started. The version is Chupacabra, but yeah, let me actually change back to the stable speed. So yeah, so let's actually try to get it with the ID 1, 2, 3. So you can see that if we call the 1, 2, 3, you get back the cache. So our Quarkus, right? You can see that let's test title and all this stuff. So we can create more books here. So random title. Yeah, so we posted it and then get it back with the, oh, it's actually 1, 2, 3. So we're probably overridden. Yeah, so we're overridden, but yeah, so you get the idea. So again, you have a remote cache manager, then you can see some of the data here, and so you can get a cache and actually use it just like this, right? So you have a you can get specific cache without this inject, but well, depends what's better for you. So there is also the clean statistics, so probably you can get some of the executes here as well, and you can go to our cache books, right? So we have it. You can see that we had 2 hits, 1 misses, retrievals, 3 stores, and something like that. So if we go back to Postman and get the book few more times. We have a runtime exception because we changed something here, of course. Yeah, so remove this line. And yeah, so once the Quarkus restarts, the cache is there. That's the... All right, so now you know how to use Infinispan cache. So the best thing is that you can restart the Quarkus how many times you want, because it's like the cache is holding in a separate app, like maybe like a Redis or something like this. But the benefits of the Infinispan is that it uses a protobuf. So technically it's a lot faster than a JSON, and it's really like up to 22 times faster. So this can be a huge benefit, especially with some maybe positioning services or something like this. And yeah, so you saw how easy it is. So you just create a book, so you need to make it non-null, so final everything. You need to create a proto factory and proto field annotations with the correct numbers. Then you go to the, you create a book context initializer, or just a context initializer for serialization with the auto proto schema builder. And you include the classes that you want to include that can be serialized. And of course, you put the schema package name. If it's not working, try to change the schema package name. Other than that, you know how to create an annotation and use cache in your code if needed, of course, and how to set up the basic, super basic Infinispan client. So yeah, I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.